No, the way I see it is that when a person lives in this world, every avera the person does, he creates this klipa. This, like I said before, this spiritual bacteria, this spiritual infection. Same way that a person has an infection in the body, a person can create this spiritual infection in the spiritual level. The Kabbalah calls it klipa. Like a klipa is a shell covering the fruit. So when a person does a lot of these averot, he creates a lot of these klipot. Now, a person lives his life not religious, so he has anxieties, fears, anger, depression, has all sorts of these emotions. He doesn't know where it's coming from. Then the person does tshuva, he starts breaking these klipot. So suddenly, hey, I'm suddenly a happy person. Suddenly I'm not depressed anymore. Oh, suddenly I see things in a more clear way. So how it felt for me that I had this klipa, I don't know where it came from, but I had this klipa that I was very aggressive. The klipa basically gets covered, it's covered the neshama, and it's kind of gets dressed in the person's body. Chassidus explains it in very well. There's different types of klipot. There's klipat Amalek. Amalek we know, as we read in the Torah, Asher karcha baderech. Amalek, the klipa of Amalek comes and cools you down. You know the person, he goes into a shiur Torah, gets all excited, he walks out the door, all the excitement goes off, the next day he continues, nothing happened. This is Amalek, it comes and cools you down. Oh, don't get excited, don't get excited. There's many different klipot. Each klipa corresponds to 7 of the nations that we had to conquer, Shiva Amamim. But there's one klipa, it's called Klipat Midian. It wasn't from the 7 nations. This is the hardest klipa, because it's the klipa that comes to takes you away from Elokut. There's different klipot. And each klipa gets dressed in the person and kind of possesses the person. Now the neshama has levushim, has garments. We know that there's 3 types of levushim, achshava, dibur, v'maaseh, thought, speech, and action. So this klipa gets dressed in this levush, and the person is kind of possessed. So you think something, it's not you thinking. It's this klipa thinking for you. So you want to do something, the klipa says, why bother going now to the shiur? Let's go to a movie. Why eat this kosher meat right now? Look at this smelling beautiful meat in this other restaurant. And you think it's your thoughts. It's not even your thoughts. So I believe that I had this klipa, I had anger, I had aggressiveness, I had all sorts of very bad traits. And when this happened, it's like as if the major piece of the klipa broke. So suddenly I woke up and I'm like, wait a minute, I'm not a mean person, I'm not an angry person, I'm not a rough person. So I know that when people do tshuva, and when they do it like, strong, they break these klipot. Suddenly the person is a totally different person. He deals with reality different. You see in our generation, half the world is depressed, half the world is all sorts of, mental issues. It's not that the world is messed up. Yeah, it's people, they're involved in so much tuma, so much impurity, that it makes the person crazy. So it makes the person crazy. Either they're depressed or aggressive or whatever it is. So half this world is on pills and all sorts of things. Why? So much tuma in this world, and it gets sucked into the body, and the person is like a possessed person. See a person that becomes religious, does tshuva, but becomes fully religious, not goes to a shiur once a month. You see suddenly the person, the mind is clear, you think well, you eat well, you sleep well, you behave well, you have the right kochot. So I believe that Hashem broke such a klipa that I was suddenly like, I'm not so rough, I'm not so violent, I don't have to beat anybody up that looks at me. I was suddenly like a nice person. So I believe that every person that does tshuva, if they're taking it very slow, then it's like gum, it gets stretched. But if a person says, okay, I see the truth, it's time to get busy, then bekoach of this tshuva, so much light comes out from the neshama, the klipa just can't take it, just breaks. And I believe that was the main thing what made me instantly like different. Because the klipa broke like severely. It wasn't like, okay, I did a mitzvah. I got shot up to Shamayim and shot back down, and I woke up totally different. Yes?
Are you judged only when you're 20 in Beit Shema?
Not exactly, because from when you bat mitzvah, you are judged for ben adam lechavero. When you're 20 is with mitzvot. So don't look for discounts. The thing is like this. Whatever you don't know, you don't get judged for. They didn't show me in Shamayim that I was ripping letters on Shabbat, or making coffee not in a second kli. They weren't showing me these things because it wasn't an avera. I didn't know it. Whatever I knew, that's avera. Now, they mainly showed me bit ben adam lechavero. That's you from bat mitzvah. Because you get da'at. When you're already 13, 14 years old, you know not to insult your friend. When you're 5 years old, you don't know not to insult your friend or to steal. A kid doesn't have da'at. When a girl hits bat mitzvah, a boy hits bar mitzvah, the attribute, the midah of da'at, the person has da'at. And he knows, okay, that's not the nice thing to do. It's not nice to steal. It's not nice to cheat. It's not. So you get judged for ben adam lechavero, which in actual in Shamayim is 10 times worse ben adam lamakom. And that's kind of what they showed me. Ben adam lamakom, Hashem says, okay, whatever, I'll forgive you. I gave you a yetzer hara, and I gave you all these nisyonot. Fine. But you couldn't be nice to your friend. You couldn't not steal from this person. Ben adam lechavero, Hashem doesn't tolerate it. That's why we know that on Yom Kippur, Hashem tells you, if there's a person out there that doesn't forgive you, or holds grudge against you, or is upset by you, you're going to have a problem, because I'm not going to forgive you for the sins in front of me, because somebody else out there is upset with you. You first have to leratzot et chavercha, make your friends happy with you, then Hashem tells you, I'll forgive you for the stuff that you failed, because I know you have a yetzer hara and all that bad stuff. So, I don't know how old you are, but don't look for discounts. You judged from when you're 12 years old, ben adam lechavero, and from 20 years old, ben adam lamakom. All your mitzvot. Have to take it serious, yeah.
Okay, so from what I remember, you told us that you were pulled out, or you traveled through the end of the tunnel from the darkness into the light, and then you said that you saw a wall full of light in the shape of a triangle, right? So why a triangle? What does that symbolize?
Okay, I asked many different rabbis. Each one gave me a different explanation. 3 in our Torah, Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov. Some people told me, Chochmah, Bina, Vedat. Gave me all sorts of theories that in our religion, and mainly in mysticism, 3 is a very significant number. But it wasn't really like a real answer. Why, I don't know. The only thing that I kind of said, okay, that makes the most sense. There's a Zohar that says, Tlat Kishrin mitkashrin da beda. 3 knots get connected to each other. Now if you take now 3 strings, you take 2 strings, make a knot, take the 3rd string, make another knot, and then take the other 2 and make a knot, it will create a triangle. Tlat Kishrin, 3 knots, mitkashrin da beza. They're becoming one. So you have 1 knot, 1 knot, and 1 knot. And the Zohar says, these Tlat Kishrin, these 3 knots, is Israel, Oraita, V'Kudsha Bricho. Hashem, the Torah, and the Jews. These are the 3 things, Kul Achad. That's what the Zohar says. The Jews, the Torah, and Hashem, Kul Achad. It's the same thing. Oraita, Kudsha Bricho, and the Yudim, it's all one thing. So that's the only place when I read it, I was like, that makes the most sense. 3 knots creates the triangle. And what did it represent? That the Torah, the Jews, and Hashem, it's all one thing. It's one piece, one entity. Kul Achad. So that's what I came up with. But they didn't give me a feedback for that. And when I went to my Rav, he says it makes a lot of sense. Maybe. So that's my my chiddush. But I don't know if necessarily that. Of course, we know from Magen David, the Zohar explains that the Magen David is actually one meshulash, they go one inside the other. There's all sorts of theories, and not theories, there's all sorts of teaching about Magen David. If you look from above, of all the journeys in the desert of the Jews, if you connect all the dots, it makes a shape of a Magen David. If you look from above at all the journeys. So in our religion, the triangles, they make a lot of chashivut. But why exactly, I don't know. That's my thing. I think it's good enough.
Also, I don't know if we have time for this answering this question, but what separates all the 7 levels in heaven?
You mean what are the levels?
Well, there are 7 levels, right?
Well, each level corresponds to a different group. The lowest level is gerim, converts. The second level is that Jews that serve the Hashem, and like what we call Beinonim, half-half. They were good Jews, but they had some averot. The third level are Jews that had Yisurim, that have a lot of problems in this world. The fourth level are the Jews that served Hashem with Yisurim, but were mourning the Churban, that constantly that was their thing. The fifth level are Baalei Tshuva. And the sixth level is the people who served, the Jews who served Hashem be'ava, besimcha be'ava, higher level than Baal Tshuva. The seventh level, there's nothing there. We don't know what's in the seventh level. But the Baal Tshuva is in one of the highest levels of Gan Eden. במקום שבעלי תשובה עומדים, צדיקים גמורים אינם יכולים לעמוד. So we know that the seventh level is the Baalei Tshuva, but the sixth level is whoever worked from Hashem, be'ava, be'simcha, with no conditions, no, I'm doing it because I'm going to get sachar, I'm going to get this, I'm going to get that. כמובן, in the fourth level is also all the הרוגי מלכות נמצאים שם. There's more categories in each category who is really there. I just gave you the general idea. But we know that Harugei Malchut is one of the highest level of that you can reach in Gan Eden, but Baalei Tshuva is still higher than that, in the fifth level. So you got to work for the fifth level. You know, there's a story in the Gemara that says, it says about the Baalei Tshuva, המקום שבעלי תשובה עומדים, צדיקים גמורים אינם יכולים לעמוד. The place where Baal Tshuva stands, a tzaddik gamur can't stand. So the tzaddikim says, don't get so excited, because במקום שבעלי תשובה עומדים, where they stand, צדיקים כבר לא יכולים לעמוד. They're passing them. So where the level where the Baal Tshuva can reach, the tzaddik, איך אומרים בעברית, משאיר לו עשן. He leaves him way behind. So, but we have to strive to be a good Jew. It doesn't matter, 7 level, 6 level. Obviously you want to serve Hashem like the 6th level, me'ava, besimcha, no conditions, because I want to reach to this level. And if you do it lishma, because you serve Hashem lishma, then you get the highest reward. The main way is to serve Hashem lo al menat lekabel pras. That's
everybody Baalei Tshuva.
נכון? That's the zchut what most people don't realize. A lot of people say, אני כזה רשע, I'm such a rasha, I did this. איזה רשע? In 1 second אתה בעל תשובה. In 1 second you change, and then you בעל תשובה. That's why a lot of people, they go through their process, פתאום they fall, and they sin. Now I'm such a rasha. No, now you can reach to the level of בעל תשובה. In the first Matan Torah, in the first time we got the Luchot HaBrit, the Jews were in the level of tzaddikim. But in the second time we got to Luchot HaBrit, the Jews were already in the level of Baalei Tshuva. Because they did the sin of the Egel and everything, and then they did Tshuva. So they were in such a high level, they were able to get not only the 5 books, the Chumash, they got the Gemarot and the Midrashim and the Kabbalah and everything. And they were able to get much more than that. So Baal Tshuva, of course everybody can become Baal Tshuva.
He did so much sin, that's what he's saying. And he tried to go to the rabbi and to ask how he can work on himself. The rabbi said, you cannot do any tshuva.
No. There's no אין דבר עומד בפני התשובה.
I know, so I don't know how to convince him to start like small things and gonna go up with the big things. But
First of all, the Gemara clearly says, אין דבר עומד בפני תשובה. There's not such a thing.
how can
And
rabbi could say such a thing?
that's not the right advice. It even clearly says in the Gemara in Masechet Sotah that if you do tshuva me'ahava ilaha, like the Zohar calls it, zdonotav nehefchim lezchuyot. Like all the sins become merits. So if you reach a high level of tshuva, and there's no such a thing. The Zohar says it very clearly also. And davar, tshuva can reverse everything. Yeah? Of course it's not easy. Maybe the Rav, I don't know why the Rav told him. I can tell you already, I don't want chas v'shalom say lashon hara about anyone, but it's definitely not the right advice.
And he continued with all his sins.
No, so that's the wrong way.
Here, I don't care about next olam.
Because every Jew, as rasha as he will be, he's still a Yehudi. The Gemara says, Af shechata Israel hu. Masechet Sanhedrin, it says very clearly, even though he sinned, Israel hu. He's still a Jew. There's something in him he needs to do, just needs to polish it, and he's fine.
And he always was saying that always that I put tefillin, like Satan come and he take my mind away. I run into
That's how it's always. The Satan doesn't like when you do mitzvah. You kill his malachim, his army. He comes and annoys you. But there's no such a thing. En davar omed b'fnei tshuva. A person can change his entire life. Hashem rachem, I don't even share with you things that I did, but Hashem rachem, I did a lot of bad things, and there's tshuva. And I know people who came from the underground. There's tshuva. For everything is tshuva. If you really do tshuva, the Gemara says, omed sham v'lo zaz ad shenimchal lo. Yeah. And there's no such a thing. In this world, this is the only world you can reverse it. If you don't want to, then, you can bring the horse to the shoket. If you don't want to, then don't. But there's no such a thing. And if you see this person, you should tell him, no, go to a different rabbi. Get a second opinion. Because there's no such a thing. Yes. No, in the back.
We learned that as a baby, Neshama forgets everything you learned. When you have this type of experience, isn't it blocks you from having the choice of choosing the right thing or wrong?
Well, the thing is that the way it works with the baby, it says, sitting in the womb, and a malach me'al rosho, above the head, and teaching him et kol haTorah kula. Then the baby comes out of the womb, and it's not a malach that hits him and makes him quiet. It's a Satan that hits him and makes him quiet. And we know the story that has here the thing. A lot of people think it's a malach, it's a Satan. And the hint for that is by the letters. If you take the word rechem, womb, what comes after reish? Shin. You take the chet of the rechem, what comes after chet? Tet. Okay, the mem of the rechem, what comes after mem? Nun. So from the rechem, the Satan is standing there, I don't want you, and straight away hits him and forgets everything. So the baby starts crying right away. Nilkecha mimeno torato. He forgets his Torah. The baby starts crying. You ever see a baby that comes out and doesn't cry? Yeah? Yes. Tzaddik. Anyways, but the thing is the Satan makes him forget. In this situation, the Satan is not waiting down there and makes you forget. So you still have some of the memory.
No, but it kind of, it's like you already know what's out there, and so you know the truth.
No.
So it kind of blocks you from having a choice.
Oh, no. That doesn't work like that. Because when I came back, my Yetzer Hara was a professional. 28 years, I fed him. He was like a commando Yetzer Hara. So it doesn't matter what you see up there when you're back in the goof, and the neshama is trapped in the goof, it has to deal with the Yetzer Hara, it has to deal with the goof. The goof is coarse, it doesn't want you to do mitzvot, it wants to sleep, it wants to eat. So it doesn't matter what you see. Nachon, maybe I have a tiny advantage, but I was placed back in the goof that was tameh for 28 years, starting to letaher et goof, to start fixing the goof. The goof, first of all, is coarse. In the nefesh, there's the nefesh elokit, where the neshama gets dressed, but the nefesh habehemit that runs the body, there's constantly a fight. Oh, Baruch Hashem, I have a big Yetzer Hara. Of course, the more you grow in ruchaniyut, kechol shekocho gover, yitzro gover. So it's not that you're becoming more religious than the Yetzer Hara diminishes. The more you become more religious, the Yetzer Hara becomes more sophisticated. So there's no such a thing. A tzaddik gamur, like David HaMelech, it says, Arag yitzro bekirbo, like kills his Yetzer Hara, that's a tzaddik gamur. But we're not in this level, and we're still in a body, and we have to deal with the Yetzer Hara. And the more you feed him, I fed my Yetzer Hara for 28 years. He's such a professional. He comes, shoo, you can't even imagine what a professional he is. So it doesn't matter what you see up there, you still have to deal with it. And dafka, the more you deal with it, people say, this Yetzer Hara is disturbing me in Avodat Hashem. If I didn't have Yetzer Hara, I would study now 6 hours all day. No, you need the Yetzer Hara. You know why? Because one of our main things is to come here and to do, the Zohar call it itkafia, to subdue the Yetzer Hara. Dafka the Yetzer Hara. As we say in Kriyat Shema, ואהבת את השם אלוקיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך. The Zohar says בכל לבבך, ביצר טוב ביצר רע. You have to love Hashem with your יצר טוב, and also love Hashem with יצר רע, לגרור את היצר הרע into the shul with you. So one of our main avodot here is to subdue the goof. לשבור את הגוף, to subdue the יצר הרע, to do it kafia, to even that to elevate. Neshama doesn't need much work. You want to elevate and change the guf and the nefesh and the yetzer hara and everything. So it's a good thing when you have all these hitnagduyot. It's part of the avodah. If there wasn't any problems, they wouldn't about you. Wake up in the morning, you would run to shul, sit there for 4 hours, learn, sit in there at Bet Midrash, learn all day long. The Hashem created this concealment. Avodah, everything. This is olam asiyah. We have to work here. So this yetzer hara is good for you. It's almost like a boxer that has a tournament to go to. If he works out by himself, he's not going to get anywhere. But if he has a personal trainer that makes him sweat and work hard, that's how the boxer becomes very professional, because the trainer is putting pressure on him. Same thing in the army, that when they train the soldier, a lot of pressure, because that's how you become good. So the more you're pressured by the yetzer hara, the good comes out of you, and you're able to transform the yetzer hara. The whole point is that you should take the yetzer hara with you to the Bet Midrash. Not that he will pull you to a movie or to play snooker. It's for you to pull him into the Bet Knesset. That's the whole point.